But Odali, you come this way if you will, and I'll deal with these lights here, and we'll get you all settled. And I don't always know where missionaries are. I know what country they're in, and I read the mission sheets, but you probably find as you visit about, they don't always know where you are exactly. And so that's the way it is. And glad you're here tonight, and Kathy's with you. Always enjoy having you all. I'll work on these lights and see what you need there.
That's fine. Well, it's a real blessing and good to be here tonight. And like the pastor said, sometimes they get me all confused. Sometimes they get confused with my name with somebody else's name, and sometimes they can even pronounce my name, and that's fine. Call me anything as long as you call me when it's time to eat. The other day we was in church, and the pastor announced, and a missionary from the Philippines, and I look around, and I was looking for somebody else that was going to be there with me, but it was me. And then I said, I'm sorry, but I'm still in Brazil. But I think it's normal, and that don't bother me at all. Well, it's been 5 years the last time we was here. I couldn't even find the church anymore. We asked a lady over there in the gas station, and she heard about the church because she told me where it was, and she said, just go up, and we got to the point that you can't go any further. So you turn, well, I heard she said turn left, but I'm sure she said right. So I turned left, and it was a school. I said she was wrong. She don't know nothing about it. So we went back and turned right and went all the way across town, and then saw another man, and we asked, he said, you go back, and then he said, 5 light, turn left. And I said, I've been there already, it's not there. So we stopped in the First Baptist Church. Said, I'm sure somebody going to know here. Somebody said, I asked somebody, said, no, I had no idea. So fine, I said, let's take a second chance. And we've been here, but 6:30 was here. And but it's fine, we're here. And we're going to be showing you. The reason I asked the pastor to use the slides is because I feel like it's my responsibility to give this church a report for what's been done for the last 5 years. And before we do that, I like to read a verse because I also like to preach a message that go along with the slide. So I hope that you can get all the 5 points that go in this message. This message is not always clear, but I hope that you can understand some. So the book of Hebrew, chapter 8 and verse 12. I'm going to just read one verse, because if I read too many verses in English, I get tired and then I can't preach. Chapter 8 and verse 12 says, for I will be merciful to their own... let me get that right. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sin and their iniquities will I remember no more. And a lot of people talk about Jesus coming, and somebody in the past set up a date and all different things. He hadn't come yet. And I don't like to... I remember we was in Brazil when the war was going on, and everybody was preaching and say, well, it's any time, it's any time. And I could not feel myself comfortable to say that, because the only thing I can see in the Bible is Jesus said, the only thing you need is be ready. If he come today, or you where to go. And I don't like to speculate when he come. I just want to make sure I'm right if he come today. And that verse is very special. I have a man in Brazil that, and a message based on that verse, that man, his wife, there was a big trouble in their family, and before the message was over, that man raised his hand and he said, "I want to be saved tonight." Just like that. So clear. And I don't think there's any verse that can be more clear than this one. When Jesus said, "I'm going to be good to you, and I will not remember your sin no more." And then when you've been saved, when you are a saved person, and then you look to yourself and look a little bit to the past and look to your own life, and sometimes you say, "Lord, are you sure that you don't remember all those things that I made? I still remember, and you don't remember anymore?" Well, this is how big God's grace it is. Amen. And so I'm going to be showing to you how big the God's grace has been for us in Brazil. And I always tell the people that all the glory has to be given to Him. But I also want to thank you for, we got 11 church, and this is one of them, that stayed behind us for the last 5 years and pray and support, and we appreciate that. And we are just the mailman, and the message is God's message, good news. So let's go on. If you can see too good, we can turn some more light off, but I think you're going to be able to see, I hope. Long way behind. It probably would be good, brother, because the people. All right. Everybody can see right? Am I in anybody else's way? Probably so. So I'm going to stay here on the side. And this is Kath and I, and we was in São Paulo, wait from some friend from Lexington. They went to see us, and this is one thing that I hope that those slides going to help you to maybe take a vacation sometime and go to Brazil and see us. It's a beautiful place, and you're going to see a lot of interesting things and a lot of God's work over there. And this are kids, and last time we was here, we have one, this little one, she was 3 months old, and now she's 5 years old. And the reason they're not here tonight is because we just got in from Florida. We spent a whole month traveling, and they were 1 week behind in school, and they have so much homework. And so I thought it was about 50 miles from Lexington. I said, we're going to be home about midnight, so you all stay and go to bed at 8 o'clock. But if I knew it was so close, I would have bring them. This is Kathy Lee, Odali, and Amelia. And this is the city of Veracruz. This is where we live. Veracruz, and this is the state of São Paulo in Brazil, not Philippines, and Brazil. And we work with in the west part of the state of São Paulo. And we work within 75, 70 miles. And in that area, we have 13 mission work. We got 2 churches organized, and then we have 11 mission work. So everything that we're going to be showing you tonight is that on that area. But John Hatch used to work. He started some of those work, and I heard that this church support BFM, and this how I was saved. So it's hard. Sometimes you don't. I know sometimes it's hard to pray and support, and you read letters and you just trust those men and trust the Lord that you pray, and the offer that you give is going to be well used. Well, if nothing else tonight, I can tell you, not because somebody else is going to write you a letter, but because I'm here tonight. And I was saved 17 years ago in the ministry of Mike Craig, that is also a missionary with BFM. And I served God 12 years in Manaus with Paul Hatcher, which also is a missionary with BFM. And I married Brother John Hatch's daughter, which is another big blessing for me. So the reason I'm saying all that is to ask you to pray a little bit hard for the next few months for Brother John Hatcher. He have all his work, plus he going to once or twice a month, he's going to come up to oversee our work, and he also going to teach for me in the Bible Institute that we have, and he have to drive 2.5 hours. And he don't like nobody feel sorry for him, but I do, because I know how hard he works. And last year, 2 years ago, he came to the state, and I have to supply for him, and I knew how easy it was. So please pray for my father-in-law, and I know you're going to pray for everybody else. So when we went to Brazil, we rent this place, and that was hard. I thought, man, that's going to be difficult, because nobody didn't want to rent a house. One house, we have everything ready, the papers typed up, everything, and then we went home, and we supposed to come the next day to sign the paper. And the man asked me, he said, what you doing? And then I told him. I said, I'm a preacher. And then the next day when I came, he said, I'm not going to rent my house anymore. So we had to look for another one. Well, we got this one, and we was paying about $120 a month, and I thought it was a good price. But I talk about myself, I never agree with pay rent. I had pay rent a lot in my life, but it's always good when you have your own place, and we pray and ask God to help us. And in Brazil, they don't have loan like they have here, and sometimes it's bad, but sometimes it's good, so you don't get yourself in trouble so easy. So if you're going to buy a house in Brazil, you buy cash, or you work a deal with the landlord, because there's no loan in the banks. Well, we prayed, and some banks started offering some loan, and we applied for, and we got the loan, and we got $10,000 loan, and we bought a house that was halfway built, and it was this one, and then we finished up. And this house today worth more than $30,000, and it's a big blessing, and we have a big backyard, and we use every space with youth. You're going to see later on a little bit. Our backyard is all concrete, and we made it on the wall, kind of one step. So we use it as a bench, and then we use it. It has been a real blessing. Let's go on, because we have a lot to go through. This is the city of Garça, and this is where we have our main building. It's a large building, and then all the preachers and all those that work in different missions, they go on Sunday morning, and then in Sunday evening, everybody's back together. That way they can keep and learn and studying. And we start doing different. They used to go and stay all Sunday, but they get discouraged, and most of them are young men, or preachers from 15 to 22 or 23. So it has been working very well this way. So this is inside that building. It's a big building. This is a Sunday school class. That was 3 years ago. This is Mother's Day. It's always a good time, Mother's Day. Last year we have about 300 mothers. And all the mothers love, because Mother's Day in our church, the mother don't do anything. They don't have to watch the kid. They don't have to cook. The men have to do everything. And they enjoy it. We could do more, I think, and we're supposed to, but at least one day in a year in our church, we just let the ladies take a break. And this is Mother's Day. It's our Sunday school rooms. This is some young men from all those young men has been saved for the last year or year and a half ago. And I could tell one story about every one of them, but we're not going to have the time. That young man with a black shirt on, if you go to Brazil, anywhere in Brazil is a big country, and you ask about Veracruz, the city is well known because it's the city of the big drug dealers live in that city. And this young man, he was one of those that passed drugs on the street, and he had a gang, and he was saved in our church. And then he decided he was going to take all his buddies, and he took, and some others got saved and some didn't, but he's doing a great work today. And then we have, let's go on. I tell you a little bit more later. So this is some that all the Baptists do the same, is eat every time they get together, and we do the same thing. They all enjoy doing that. This is my office, and I go on because it's a mess and I don't want you to see. I don't know who took that picture. I think it was somebody, that guy from Lexington that went to see. And when my office gets real mess that I cannot find in the book, when I start saying, "Hon, did you saw that book?" And then she come in and cleaned the thing for me. But that day was one of those days. And then we have a baptism. It's downstairs in the basement. And in Brazil, the part of the country that we live is real nice. It's from 30 to 75 degrees all year round. So it's good for vacation. And if you want, feel free to go. But when it gets cold, and then we don't have hot water, and then we have a little bit of trouble. But it's nice. Now, I'm going to be showing you about 10 different pictures, and that is how we start a mission work. And I want to give you a report on how we do everything. And so you look, and then I'm not going to repeat every city how we did and how we start. That way we save some time, okay? So this is how we did in Veracruz. So the first thing we did, we had a car, and we traded with this lot. One man in this city, he owned 2 lots. And it was a nice lot. And so I traded the car with him. And he is one of those guys that he get the last pin that you got, and if you're crying, he laughs. So he told me, he said, "One day you're going to need money so bad that I'm going to buy my lot back from you real cheap." I told him, I said, "Sir, one day I'm going to buy you this next lot so I can build a church here." And I got his lot, and we started building a church. We got both lots. And we use everybody in the church to build. See, all the others congregation help to build the next building. And my wife always cook a big meal, and some of them just come to eat, and some just come to play, and they end up all eat, and all of them play, and all of them work too. Everybody works. Then the building went up, and this is inside, and this is how it is today. So all the buildings, we do that way, okay? We just spend the money and buy the materials, and all the labor. We make the windows, we make the benches, we make everything, the beams. And you're going to look, and you find out that most of the building look almost like. And the reason that we do that way is because it's a lot of ease on me. See, I have to figure and buy all the material. And for that building, I know how many brick I need, and how many bags of cement I need, how many load of rock I need. So I just build the same size and the same shape all the time. And sometimes we just change the top a little bit. All those 13 cities that we work with, and 11 of them we got a building on. So just 2 cities that we don't have a building on. This is inside. That boy that's teaching Bible, Sunday school class over there, he is a crippled boy, and gives a lot of headache, but now he gives a lot of joy. So God has been real good with him and with us to be patient with him. And this, before we have the building, we have a servant in that first house that we used to rent. And then the new house, we used to have a servant in our living room before we have the building. Now we're going to go north for about 8 miles, and then we go to the city of Marilia. It's that name that you see. And this is 150,000 people in that city. It's a big city. And we did the same thing. We bought a lot. And let me tell you how we got this lot. It's double blessing for you. I'm sure you've been praying for Brother John Hatch, and you've been praying for me and all the other missionaries. And sometime I think, and I said, well, somebody somewhere is praying for me. And I know sometimes you don't even know. You just say, Lord, bless all the missionaries. And it's good that God knows everyone by name, where they are, and what they need. Because sometimes things happen that it's just because God is watching and His answers pray. So one time my father-in-law came to eat with us, and then after we eat, I invite him to go to that city of Marilla to drive around and just to see the city and pray about. Well, and we was also looking for a lot to buy, and then we was coming that road over there, and one man was walking on the street. So I told him, I said, stop and let's ask that man. He knows something. And I asked the man if he knew anybody have a lot for sale. He said, yeah, those two right there. I came from São Paulo today to sell, but I have to be today because I need to go back tonight. And we worked out a deal, and my father-in-law paid for one lot, and I paid for the other one. And I paid $500, and he paid $500 for it. And today I couldn't even touch one of those lots for $5,000. And we got a building on it already, so it's not for sale, but it's a big lot, nice place, nice location. It was that way when we bought. And then all the city just grew that way, and it's all developed around now. But before we have that building, we used to go house to house and invite people to go to that bus and have a server inside the bus. This is how we used to have a server in that city of Morelia. And now we got a building. And all those young men, all those young men that you see over there is a preacher. And every one of them take care of one mission work with somebody else. We always have, sometimes have a girl and young man, and sometimes we have a couple from our church, but we don't have that many couple in our church yet. And sometimes we just have a group of young people that goes Sunday morning and have a Sunday school class and preaching service. So you young people that are here tonight, say this one thing that I see is sometimes the young people they just say, well, I'm going to wait until I get off the college, and then I'm going to decide what I'm going to do for God. You need to do it now. You need to start serving Him. If you're 18, 15, and you're not serving God, somehow you are late. Start now. Somehow you can serve God. Well, let's go on. This is the building. See, we changed the roof, but the size, the dimension is all the same. Now we go to the city of Lupasio. It's east, about 25 miles. And this is how it used to be, and this is how it is today. This is one lady from our church. She's a widow, and this boy is her son, and they work in that mission work. This is inside the building. It's Bible school. We always start a mission work with the Bible school. That way we shake the whole city out with the Bible school. This is Álvaro de Carvalho. It's another city, and it's the hardest name to say, so don't even try. You're gonna hurt your tongue. But it used to be that way, and this how it's that way today. And this is the family that works that city. All those that work with us, this family is the only one that we don't have to do anything to support or to help them, because he have a good job. He work in the bank. All the others, somehow we work out that they can have their own support. And I don't pay salary for no one of them, because first of all I can't afford it, and if I could, I would be stuck with one or two or three, and then I would be limited. And the way we do, we find some of them, I made a little machine to bake coffee. Then I help them buy the coffee and the machine, and sometimes I can make. And then they start to sell, and others sell books and different things that you can see more later on. Now we go to Santa Teresa. It's another city. And we first bought this house. Now we built a little building in the back. And we kept the house so when the young men go over there, they can have a place to spend the night. This girl in the middle with two other young men, they work over there. This girl, she live with us. We have 3 girls that live with us, besides our girls. And it's a blessing. A lot of people think well, I don't have my privacy because people live with me. For us, it's a blessing. This girl, she came to live with us, and she was sick, and we spent a lot of time in the hospital with her. Lots of time. but she got well, and today she is just a blessing. She helps a lot. She is real smart. She got 2 college degrees, and she's halfway in a 3rd one, and she can do almost anything that she put her mind to. And a real blessed, real nice Christian girl. And this is Duachina. This church was built, this building was built by John Hatch. And I was supposed to preach in the first service of that building. And if Brother John preached here before, he probably mentioned something about this building. I don't know if you ever heard. By the first service that we was going to have this building, and we was having average of 45, 50 people under the tree that we used to have a service. And now we have a new building that everybody was excited about. And we went there, and there was nobody the time that we set up to have the first service. And somebody had go around the neighborhood and spread the news that when the Baptists get together to have a first service in the building, the first thing they do, they kill a kid and off to the devil. So nobody was there, and I don't blame them. But today is strong mission work, and they run about 120 every Sunday. And the young man that preached over there, he started preaching when he was 15. He's 19 now. And when we go back, this is probably going to be the next congregation that's going to be organized as a church. And we hope that we also ordain him at the same time. He's going to a Bible Institute, so he should finish next year. So God has real blessed this. It's inside, that's the young man over there. And his daddy used to be, his house is right next to the church building. And that man was a mean man. All the way, you can imagine. And he did everything to keep that boy from preaching. He wanted him to work with him. And a lot of time, before service, Sunday morning or Sunday night, he would come church gate and he would say, have somebody to call him and said, I have something for you to do for me. That way, there would be no service because he had nobody to preach. And he came talking to me about it, and he was getting ready to leave the home, and I told him, I said, no, stay there. He was 16 only, and I said, obey your dad and trust the Lord, and he would take care of it. And the Lord sure did. And the man now is about 300 miles away from us. And we built those Sunday school classes. Then that little corn that you see right in the back is a little apartment that we built for him. And I told him, I said, buddy, you can preach 24 hours now. And if you don't do, it's all your fault. Because you have all the time that you want. Good Christian man. This man, he was saved in a jail. And one lady in our church had a son that was in jail. And she asked for us to go visit her son. And we went. This man was saved. And when I was in college here in Lexington, LBC, I used to work in the jail ministry over there in Nicholsville, and you see a lot of things. And one thing that I saw a lot is people want to get out. And they didn't worry much about getting in, but sure they want to get out. And this man, after he was saved, I talked with him and I asked him if the church could help him with loyal son to follow him in his case. He said, no, I want to stay here all the time that I have to, because God has something for me to do while I'm here. And you know what he does? I give him a Bible, and he can't read. And you know what the Bible says about the person that can't read. So this is my second point in my message. The blind that can see. And the Bible says that the person that don't have Jesus Christ and the person who's saved are blind. The devil keep them blind, and the devil work hard to keep the lost person blind from seeing the gospel in order to keep them from being saved. Well, this man, he can't read, and he gets his Bible and goes around and asks those that can't read but don't understand nothing about the Bible. And then he that can't read nothing about the Bible but know a lot about the Bible, and then he explains to them what they read. It's a real blessing. And he have done that for over 2 years, I believe. And he's still there and he's still doing it. Now we go to Cabrales, another city. And we used to rent this place right just that middle section, the wooden door, small room, and we used to have 45, 50 people in that little room, and now we got a building. Now we go to Fernão Dias, it's another city, and this used to be a home, and then we knock all the walls down, and this is a church building today, and this is the couple that work in that church. And this girl that you looking to now, she was an alcoholic when she was 9 years old. And this young man that you look at, he was a drug addict. You know when I mean that when Jesus says, I'm going to be good with you and you sin I will remember no more. And it's hard to look back and you knew those persons and see what they do today and how they are today and how they act today is just by God's grace. So they are married today, and that is one of those things that sometimes happen in the mission field, and maybe it don't happen here in the state, because maybe you've been saved for so long, and you got a couple that way with that kind of background. One was drunk, a little girl, and the other was a drug addict, and then now he's saved, and then you have to teach everything for that couple. We pretty much adopted them, and we teach them everything when they start date, how you're supposed to date, how the Christian's supposed to date, and how to engage, and how to get married, and all that. Today, both work, both go to school at night, and both go on a weekend to that city, about 50 miles away, and stay there to preach the gospel. So a big change like that, a man cannot make. Let's go on. Now we go to Alvilândia, is another city. And this is the family that worked in that city. They used to have a serving a bus, and now they have this wood building. This is Júlio Mesquita, is another city. We don't have a building in this city. We rent this place. And this place is, in all those cities, so far is the east city to work with. We rent this place, put the name on, and we was working, planning how we was going to start to work and who was going to work over there. And one day we came to clean the place because we was ready to start. And the man that lived next door said, "Can you please tell me when you're going to have a service? Because everybody come by here and ask when you're going to have a first service." And the first day we have 35 people. The second day we have 110. And then the third day it was a ball game. You know what a ball game does, right? And with the ball game, we have 87. So it's a real blessing. And we have a young man, he's 16, that worked over there. There's another couple from our church and another girl. And I told him, I said, "Buddy, you just get ready because the devil's not going to let go so easy." I don't think so. So this is the young man. This young man is, his mother's with him, and has a family of 5 kids. And about 3-4 years ago, that lady got saved, and the kids were small, and we started helping them. And they used to live in the slum. You're going to see in a minute. So we decided we was going to bring everybody close to us. So we rent a place right next to our home, right next door to us, and we feed them. And so today is another big blessing. He worked with me. He helped me make all those bench windows. I used to help him. Now he used to help me. Now I help him because he do most of the work, and he also teach another to how to do it. And then the girl that works over there, she came to go to the Bible Institute, but she didn't have a job. So we started this little bookstore for her, and this is how she make a live while she go for the 3 years she's going to be in school. And then she may be going to get married. I don't know what's going to happen. She's going to move to another place, and then he's going to help somebody else to go to school. That's her. And she is a real pretty girl, but she makes some ugly face when I take a picture. And this, the coffee thing that I told you, I made that little tank, and then buy him 120 pounds of coffee and a lot of machine to grind the coffee. And then it's good. That way you can test the person to see how honest they are, and also for them to prove, because it's one thing I can handle. I can handle a lot of things. One thing I don't like, and I think the Bible back me up, it's laziness. I think when Paul said, those that don't work, don't let them eat. And I started looking at that verse, and I think the Bible said, those that don't work, let him die. Because if the person don't eat, I assume he was saying, let him die. Well, if he's sick, let's feed them. If he's got a problem or anything. But if he's lazy, and we have a lot of lazy people, but we also have some good people. So, this one, we got 3 preachers that is doing that and doing real good so far. Let's go on. This girl, she also is pretty good, but I don't know why. They look that way. And she lived with us. And she is one of those 5 kids from that lady that we brought in. And it was a headache one time, but now it's a blessing. And I don't know how long they're going to stay with us. And this is the shop that we have. So this place that we make all those benches and doors and windows and everything for our buildings. And we have about 5 kids that work with us all day. And we make some fence. All the houses in Brazil have a fence around. So we get those pieces of metal and make a fence. And that way they can have some money for them. And then this young man, he is one of those that is hard-headed. And I can't handle hard-headed. And when I first went over there, my mother-in-law told me, he said, I have somebody that wants you to invest some time. Be prepared because it's tough. So she introduced myself to him, and he was in drugs and all kinds of problems. Well, he has been with me for the last 4 years. Sometimes I feel like I hit him right in the head with a hammer. But it's one thing that he is good on. He's hard work. And one day he did something that I know he's more than just hard work. He also loved the Lord. And sometimes he just slow way down the hole, and sometimes he's way up on top of the hill. And I think all of us have our time to be on top, and sometimes we also always down. Well, one day we was inside the house, and he knocked on my door, and he said, "Preacher, I think my help wants to be saved." He is a bricklayer, so all those buildings he helped me build. So that's the reason he's been with me for so long. And he had somebody that was helping him, his help. And this was his help. And this young man got saved right when they were working laying bricks. And this is the third point in my message, that you can serve God every day. See, sometimes you think that, well, I have to be in church Sunday, Wednesday night, or Sunday morning, or I have to be with somebody, some brother or sister in Christ to be happy. Well, the reason that maybe God allowed you to work with lost people is because he wants you to be witness to them. And this young man now, he is special, like every one of the others, but he is so special. He worked in the nursery, he worked in the kitchen, he would do anything that we asked him. He is not home all the time. He get there about 6:30, 7 in the morning. And if the door is not open, he sits in the car, and then when we open the door, he's inside the house, and he eat with us, and he work with us. And then about 10:30, 11 o'clock, I said, "Buddy, let's go to bed, go home." Then he go home, and he's back next morning. And if I call home this time of night, he'd probably be there. And real special. His daddy, his family, he's the only person that is saving the whole family. Gave them a hard time. And since we've been here in the state now, I called home one day and I heard that his dad threw him out of the house. And he's living in the church building. I told him he could sleep there and stay there and eat in our home. And you young one, girl or boy right here, and mom and dad is Christian, and sometimes you think that is so hard to have to go to church every Sunday. Just remember, somebody somewhere wants to serve God. And it's so hard to serve when everybody in the family want to be against. So, Mark, he's a nice fellow. And then we come to the fourth point in my message tonight. And this is Kathy Lee, my little girl, fishing in our backyard. She tried to catch a big one. And there is no fish, much less water. And sometimes we do that. Sometimes we know what the Bible says. We know when Jesus told Peter, he said, Peter, follow me, and I'll make you a fisher of men. And you stop a little bit to think. And in order to Peter to become a fisher of men, what he had to do? Well, he left behind his boat, his net, and went up to the city where the people was. And last time, we said, Lord, I want to serve you. But we don't want to move one finger to do that. So, don't do like my little girl fishing. And this, the people, you can see, brother, that thing's not focused, but that was not good focus anyway. You can see about John Hatch and Mrs. Hatch in the middle, and we always sometimes have a big dinner, and then we make plans and make goals for the next month, the next 3 months, or whatever, and you always have a good fellowship together. And this is the family from Lexington. They went to see us, and then they came back, and they went again, and they planned, one of the family, he's planning to go next year again, and then he said he's going to retire in 5 years, and he's going to spend 6 months over there and 6 months here in the States. So it's nice when you go, and this man, he told me, he said, I always pray for missionaries and always help them. He said, but changed my whole life when I saw alive, when I was there. And this how it was every day. The kids just come to see and enjoy, and different people come every night and have fellowship, and we eat together. And sometimes when we talk about people to go, and the other day a couple that is planning on to go next year, and he said, but I go, but you're going to have to promise me that you're going to rent a place or have a place so we can stay, so we don't bother y'all. That was an offense for me. Because you don't bother us. It's a blessing. And for the last 2.5 years, we have a meal we set in our table as a family one time that I know of. And all the other time, my wife always cooked for 15, 12 people every day. And now in Latin, she cooked for 6 because we brought my niece with us, and we have a lot of food left over. She's worked on to cut down the measurements. But we always have a lot of people with us. So don't feel bad about it. If you feel like go, all you have to do is buy your tickets. And you're going to see all those kids, they've all been saved. And all those young men, that one was the yellow jacket. He was in public school, and he was a street kid. And one day, my wife went to the school to sign some report card. This is one thing that we do a lot. We work with our kids to go to school. You maybe think that doesn't have nothing to do with some mission work, but does. In Brazil, the kids don't have to go to school if they don't want to. So the parents care less. So we push hard for them to go to school. And we have a camp. And I don't let nobody go to camp if they don't pass in the school. If they flunk, they'll go to camp with me. If they got a straight A, I pay for the camp. And last year we paid about 15 camp. So my wife, we give books and paper, and then my wife go to school and check all of the cards and everything. So she went to sign somebody's card, and the lady in the school, she asked her, said, what's wrong with that boy? Said, what happened with him? Said, he used to be so bad that nobody could handle him anymore, and he's so good now. Well, she could not see the difference because the difference was inside. But she couldn't see the result on the outside. One day we was washing our sidewalk in our home, and this lady came just flying in her car and parked right in front, and she was crying. She said, y'all got to help me. And she was the head of the school. She said, we have so many problems, and y'all probably can help. See, this is public school. And our son, he prayed in his class, the teacher asked for, and the young people from our church, they have a Bible study, and we don't have a Christian school, and we hope we have someday, but until we're doing very good in the public school. So it has been a real good blessing. And this girl, she took her mother to the church, and this is Paul, and this is one of those things that you have to believe in God to see what God can do. A little life like that one. He was another street boy, and he was saved in a church, and then we started working with him. someday that boy come around and he is starved to death. His dad is a drunk and his mother, I don't know what she does. And we feed and clothes. He worked with me in the shop. I don't give nothing for free, so he has to clean my tools and sweep the shop. But he is so special for me, for my wife. Day before yesterday, somebody called and we talked with him, and he was there. And I talked to him a little bit, and then I give the phone to Kat. She talked to Paul. She said, I can't hear him. Because she cried like a baby when he hugged her, tell her goodbye. Real special little boy. You asked him what he wanted to do, and he said, I want to stay around this house because I want to be a preacher one day. And I tell you what, for me that's a big responsibility when I hear a little boy like that say that. And smart little boy. And this one was one of those, that family of 5. And man, he was lazy. So you imagine how I didn't like him so much. 2 years I go to school, and I told him, buddy, you're going to eat my food, you go to school. At least you're going to go to school. Then he flunked the first year. Then we have a meeting. I called his mother and him in. I said, if you flunk this year, you're going to also have to taste my belt. He thought I was a kid. He found out later I wasn't. And he's been real good in school now. He even worked in the shop. Helped little Paul clean the tube. Doing real good. This inside our home. And this is the back of our church building. We have one of those first young men that I show you. He goes to the agriculture high school, agriculture. I don't know how it goes. But anyway, so we help him buy seed and make that fence. And then he used some kid in a church and grow a garden. Then we buy vegetables from them, and other people, the neighbors buy, and they have their money to spend. And this is done by the Catholic Church. They do that every year, and they have a big procession, and it's about 5 blocks. Everybody is supposed to do it in front of your own house, and priests go walk through that thing. It's done with sawdust and coffee, and as the priests walk through, the Holy Spirit is supposed to go. The Holy Spirit is supposed to go and bless the city, and we have a mess city. This was the slum I was talking about, that family of 5 came from. This was the first lady that was saved. I'm going to speed up a little bit because I'm taking too much time. This young man, he's 22, and this is the 4th point in my message tonight. And that is, you cannot afford not to serve God because you cannot get along with people. I hope that I'm going to be over time, but it's going to be worse for you. Because it's 5 years. I cannot tell you what I've been done in the last 5 years in 30 minutes. And this young man is the hard one that I couldn't find to get along with. And sometimes it's so easy to people in church say, well, I'm not going to teach Sunday school anymore because so-and-so make me mad, or I don't go do that because I don't like so-and-so. You serve God when everything is just right. Tell you what, that young man over there he's hard to get along with, but he loves the Lord. He's faithful. And you give something to do, he does. And I asked him to be in charge of all the little boys, the teenagers. And he could believe that. Oh, you going to trust me with that? Sure, I know you can do. He did a good job. And then, now that I was getting ready to come to state, and everybody was looking and tried to guess who's going to be preacher, who's going to be in charge, and have so many young preachers. And I talked to him, and they couldn't believe, but I know, even though it's hard to get along with him, we have to learn in our life that those things we need to put behind us and put God first in our life. Everything that this world that we have, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Money is good, can be bad, but everything can be good, like money, job, family, friends, as long they don't take God's place. So we cannot afford to get mad to each other, leave a church, So to go every year, change from one church to another because I cannot get along with so-and-so. I didn't like what I heard. God comes first, brother. And then we need to learn to be humble and forgiving each other and get along with. Or if you can't get along, but you cannot afford to quit serve God. Let's go on. Let me go. Let me move. This lady, she was just saving. She wants that picture. This is Brother Moses, and he was a drunk. He was on the street, laying on the street all the time. And his wife was getting ready to leave him, and he had a heart problem. So he thought that life was not worth anymore. So he stabbed himself 3 times in his chest with a knife. And God didn't let him die. And he was saved. His wife was saved. And 4 daughters was saved. Today he's a nice man in our church. Every time he come to church, he said, "Preacher, I got somebody's address here to go visit." Some of his old friends. So when I came, I said, "Brother Moses, you in charge of the whole visitation in our church." And this is what he does. I got a letter from him yesterday. And he said, "I'm not doing the way I'm supposed to, but I'm trying." And that's all I want, for him to keep trying. And real happy man. Every time that he knows that I go by, pick him up to go visit. He have a homemade bread for me and my wife to eat. Nice man. This is Mark. And yesterday was my birthday. And he called from Brazil just to tell me hello. That was so neat. And he used to do work with the young people in the Catholic Church. And he used to cook for them and have cookout and do all kinds of work in the Catholic Church. They were saved in our church, and now they serve the Lord the way they're supposed to do. And nice man. Every year when they have a fellowship, a meal in our church, my wife and I always have to do all the cooks, set tables up and everything. Last year he said, "I don't want you to do anything. I'm going to do everything, and I'm going to find people to do." So he did. That was great. Let's go on. This is Mother's Day cake. They just don't get one free day, but they also get a big cake that the men make for them. It's good. And all the young people serves, not the mothers. They're not supposed to. And then we have a lady in our church to make 1 flower for each mother every year. And this is the man from Lexington. He went to see us. He's a nice man. And the reason I'm to show his picture here is to invite you to go sometime and go to Brazil. And it's a beautiful country, and you're going to enjoy it and have some beautiful place to see. Have food. This is the first thing people ask. How about food? How about the bugs? Well, man, we was in Florida last week, and that was mosquito all the way down. And in Brazil, we don't have mosquito. Not where we at. Up north they do, but not where we at. And the food, we have fresh vegetable, and my wife cook a lot, and we've been working with American people for so long, and we almost American too, and we already know what they like, and we even know when they like it, when they don't like it. So when they go to Brazil, we always serve everything we have to make sure that they got some just for them to taste. And you know that when you like something, you say, that's good. So that she can serve again. But sometimes you offer some and they said, tastes different. Well, that means don't never serve again. They said, tastes different, don't serve. So, and then we're going to have fellowship together. People come to our home when you're there, and then you're going to sing and have a good time. And then we eat again. This is the law among the Baptists. And then Sunday morning, you're going to have a chance to go to one mission work with somebody. See, those cars is a team. Each one of those cars is a team that go for different cities every Sunday morning. And then you go with them. If you're a man, and if you can, you're going to preach. If you can't, you're going to preach. Because they're going to make you preach. And if you're late, you're going to sing. If you can't sing, you're going to sing anyway. And then we come home and eat again. And then if you can, we also can use some work. We're always building some building. But you said, "Man, I want a break. I want a vacation." That's okay. You don't have to do any work. Matter of fact, those that went, they did nothing. And then this was our first graduation service that we had last year in our Bible Institute. A small institute just for our preachers. And it's a 3-year program. And last year was the first graduation service. And then we have the baptism day. It's all those were baptized in one day. And it's always a big day because people come from different congregation to be baptized. We always use the church in Garza, and then we always have a big fellowship day. And all those, I could tell a story about each one of them, but I don't have the time. I go on. That big Lewis, every church needed one man like that one, but I hope this church don't have one. You know what I mean? It's that one that can make the preacher be on his knees all the time. And he was a wild man. His wife came to church one morning, Sunday morning. First time she came to church. And then next Monday, my wife and some other lady went to visit her. And that Sunday morning was the Lord's Supper, the Lord's Supper day. And I told that you're here and you're not a member of this church, and we're glad that you're here, but we ask you not to be part of it. Well, she went home and told the preacher, told her husband that the preacher didn't let her have the Lord's Supper. Man, he was hot. Well, I'm glad I didn't went that Monday, but my wife went. She had it. Well, she came home, she said, honey, you're going to have to go see that man. He's too wild. So we went and worked with him a lot. Nice people, but hard. You know, the worst thing that can happen with a person is if he is a religious person, member of some church, but not saved, and then all of a sudden they change religion. You know what I mean? They didn't trust the Lord. They just change religion, get baptized and everything. And then you go talk to that person, and you find out, it's easy to find out that he's not saved. And then you start preaching the gospel to him, and it's like talking to a rock. This is how he was. Well, one day he was eat some bread, and he stayed, and he was saved, and his wife was saved. And now I start talking to him to be baptized, and he said, "No way! I've been baptized twice in my life. That's all I need." And then I started talking to him that he needed to be baptized. Well, one day we was walking out of his house to go home, and he said, "Preacher, tell me, just give me one reason that you always want me to be baptized." I said, "Louis, I already show you everything I do. I don't know anymore now. Everything I know in the Bible, I show you." I said, "The only thing I can tell you, brother, Jesus said, when you trust him as his person to save, you need to be baptized. It's the second step that you need to take in your life." He said, "It's good enough. I'm going to be baptized." And I said, "Man, I spent all this time trying to convince this man, and it was so easy." Well, he was baptized, and like I said, long way. He lived up on the farm, and we go pick him up every Sunday, take him home, and all that. He's wild man sometimes, but it's come a long way, and it has been a real blessing to us. Well, let's go on. This man, he was 76 when I baptized him. And in Brazil, when you start to get a little bit old, you sign whatever you have for your kids or for whoever you want to. And he signed the paper of his home for his son. Now he's a Christian, and his son didn't like, so kicked him out of the house, and now he don't have no place to live, and he lives with somebody else. And this man, he was unfaithful to his wife for 10 years. Now he's saved, and he worked with me, he helped me in the building. And this is a little person. We was having Bible school. This man, I'm not going to tell him. This is my last point number 5, and that is, sometimes we just think that it's a blessing when we like it. So my 5th point is, how can you see a blessing where don't look like a blessing? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but I'm going to tell the story about this man, and then you're going to understand what I'm saying. See, sometimes when things are going bad in our life, we just feel that nothing is good. Everything, I heard that a lot in my life. Nothing worked for me. Everything is ruined with me. This is a van. Sometimes we buy old van, and then we fix, and I do a little bit of body work and mechanic and just a little bit of something. And we use those young men, and then we fix, paint, and then we use in the work. Well, this one you can see through those glasses, big eyes. It's all kids. I don't know how many kids we have inside this thing. And I was going to give this van to that church, that mission work that have that A-shaped building that I told you about, the story about. Well, he was 16. In Brazil, you have to be 18 to have a driver's license. Then we have a lady in that church that she was 50 years old. And I told her, I said, sister, I give you the van and I pay you to have your driver's license. She couldn't believe that she could drive. And in Brazil, sometimes if you're pretty sharp, you can get your driver's license with 3 classes. And if you're a little bit slow, you can get with 5 classes. And for that lady, I paid 28 classes. Man, she sure can't believe it. Well, I gave the van to her. She took it home, and she drove this van for about 2 months. One day she was bringing some young people from visitation, and she flipped that thing right in the middle of the highway. Nothing wrong. She just could drive in bad, and she flipped the van. Well, the police came, and you know what all was involved, and all the paper done. And if you just knew how nervous she is, and she was real calm, and she said, God is so good, and she was talking about how God has spared all their life, and could be a lot worse than that, and thank God for this and that, and asked that policeman to go see her, to go to visit our church. Well, that policeman went home and told his wife, he said, I don't know, I saw something wrong today. He said, the woman's always nervous when they're in trouble, but this lady, she was so calm. And that policeman's wife got impressed with that, and he told her, he said, she even was talking about her God, and invite me to go to the church. Well, that lady, the policeman lady, she said, I'm going to find out. So she went to visit our church. Well, I already baptized the lady, the policeman. They all member our church today. And now they just moved to another city, 250,000 people. And when I go back, you know what's going to happen? We're going to open mission work in their home, just where they want. So, you know what I mean? Sometimes it don't look like a blessing. And I said, thank the Lord that she could never learn how to drive. We have 28 classes. It was a blessing. So, I don't know what is your situation in your life, but just remember that God can always use for good. Well, I'm going to just show the rest of the picture and go on. This is the van. This is how you did some work on the body. Did some body work on it. It's inside our building. A lot of people. This church was the first church that was built, and there was hired a company to build, and that cost $24,000 to build this building, a small building. And this building that we're building today, that one was the last one that we built, cost $14,000. A lot of cheap. Use the people, and that way they can learn how to appreciate, and they can learn how to take care. And I always plan the way that if I die, they can keep on going. Thank you very much for your attention. I know you took more than I should, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. Pastor, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight.
Number 371. 371. I can hear my Savior calling. I
said tonight, something else they knew. What she said. She said, I appreciate what I heard tonight.
Amen.
She also said, in God's word, there's something for everybody to do, even the little ones. And I quoted to her a verse, but I wanted us to see it in the verse. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. That's in bad sense. But I tell you, if just a little handful of us have a little more enthusiasm in us about the work of God, it's also might go out into the body.
Amen.
How do you do that? I'm not sure. It's got to be sold in the Sunday school classes. It's got to be sold from the pulpit. But the Lord has to do it. Let's say this. Sometimes Sunday school teachers, they accumulate some money. I think the difference probably, and we that in America, the land of plenty, that materialism sometimes kills our zeal if we're not careful. It doesn't have to, but I think it's Third Baptist in America. I have the feeling that what's been done in Brazil, that percentage-wise, they've done more with less than maybe we've done, or other Baptists have done, who had more than the ability. Doesn't make sense to me. Hope it does. And probably when we stand before the Lord, He's not going to accept a lot of our excuses that I was too busy. Yes, He's going to be involved in the things of the world. That's just sad. But anyway, those Sunday school teachers, I'm not saying every time you get some money on hand, send it to this work, but I am saying you could do that. You could if that comes to mind. I really think that it helps us not only to hear, but it helps us to see some things being done. He didn't promise you that every person in those pictures was saved because He doesn't know that. All He can tell you is they responded to the gospel and they're putting forth an effort to serve God. He also just gave you the prettier picture. And He sprinkled in a little bit. He said that one was hard to get along with and this one was difficult to work with. And I can promise you without having been there personally that if you don't see the whole picture, I don't know whether I'll be preaching this on Sunday morning or not, but may. If we don't get the whole picture, we're going to draw wrong conclusions, we're going to go the wrong way, we just won't be right. Remember the psalmist said, when I went into the sanctuary of God, then understood I their end, but we all also understand our end. If I ask you, Kathy, to stand up here after we're dismissed, if someone wants to speak to you, come right up here to my right, if you will, and if we're dismissed, you come around if you like, and speak to them, and if you can help tomorrow night when you let me know when you go out. Brother Rusko, would you dismiss us, please, tonight?
Heavenly Father, thank you for this night and the many blessings we've seen. Thank you for the mission relations we have. We've seen the scenes all over the protocol. Thank you for each one today in our house this time. We ask you, Father, touch us all and might have our lives. These people will be blessed, forgiveness, and any sin shall come to this day. Go with us to our home and guide and direct us.